live, ladies and germs. And I did check, there doesn't seem to be any desync, so yay for that. But back on the air for the second review of tonight. And this time around, we're going to be reviewing the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Atlanta. And in my opinion, it was the best race of the weekend. So saddle up, lock, and load for review number 2 of this Monday, February 23rd, 2026. This is The Fuel. Hey, what's happening, ladies and germs? This is the PackerMan, and welcome into your O'Reilly Auto Parts Series review of the Bennett Transportation and Logistics 250 from the Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. Obviously, the title of this episode is called Assassin Creed. Well, it should be pretty obvious why. Sheldon Creed finally got his first career win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series after a crazy turn of events, to say the least. So, lots to talk about in this one. So, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I thought this was the best race of the weekend. It fell just short of being an all-timer, but I still think it was a damn good race. A god tier race for sure. So, first two stages were 45 laps, with stage 3 being 73 laps, making this a 163 lap race. Sam Mayer starts from the pole. He drives for Haas, the Haas factory team. So he leads lap 1 as they fan out through the field. Unfortunately, we get our first caution on lap 5. We have a huge wreck on the front stretch after Corey Day tries to squeeze 3 wide and clips the 39 of Ryan Sieg, and he goes around. Blaine Perkins, Sieg's brother Kyle, Harrison Burton, and Patrick Staropoli are also involved in this crash. Corey Day, I mean, does it seem like he has some potential? Yeah, but man, he has been a fucking wrecking ball. So, I mean, I honestly don't think he should be in the O'Reilly series yet, but that's just me. But coming to the restart on lap 13 with Mayer as the leader. He actually has a bit of a tire rub after hard contact with Taylor Gray. He was trying to side draft, and they ended up slamming door to door. Gray actually led the first lap after the restart, but then Mayer got back. For our first pure lead change, lap 16, choo-choo train begins to form on the high line like in the truck race, and I'm just like, ugh, here we go again. Anthony Alfredo with a flat right rear tire. Sheldon Creed gets the lead on lap 27, and then Mayer's left front tire goes down from the fender damage, so once again, tire failures are the theme of the day. Raja Caruth with a nice 3 wide move to take the lead for our third pure lead change on lap 29, then Jesse Love with our fourth pure lead change on lap 31. Also, Sam Mayer got caught speeding on pit road, so that's a big ouchie. Parker Retzlaff up to second after a push up the middle. Austin Hill gets loose and drops back to the field a bit. He actually started 20th. Caruth tries to challenge for the lead, but gets hung out on the inside, and Jesse Love wins stage number 1. It was actually a very racy first stage. They got single file for a bit, but it wasn't that long, so not bad for stage. So we come to stage 2. Everyone comes in for service. Love wins the race off pit road. A member of the 54 team goes ass over tea kettle. He was trying to retrieve a tire that got away and nearly got run over by his own car, but he was okay, thankfully. And the 54 got sent to the rear for a safety violation. The Love leads the start of stage 2. Outside line becomes dominant once again. Sheldon Creed takes the lead on lap 64. Austin Hill gets stuck 3 wide in the mid-pack. Definitely seemed like the O'Reilly Series cars were a lot more racy than the trucks this week. Caruth goes 3 wide with Creed and Allgaier to take the lead, so yet another Bonsai 3-wide move by Carruth on lap 73. Gio Ruggiero with a flat tire, so yet another flat tire to add to the tally. Carson Quaffle on the inside trying to challenge for the lead. Lots of jockeying for position at the front. We had all 4 JRM cars in the top 5. And Rajah Carruth wins stage number 2. So another solid stage. So everyone comes in for service. Under the stage break, William Sawalich takes just 2 tires. So we come to stage 3, and this is when it gets a little bit messy. Quaffle gets a better start than Sawalich for the start of stage 3 and gets the lead. Carruth way loose off turn 2 in the middle, but hangs on. He did that a couple times. Then we get our second caution on lap 105. Corey Day gets under Quaffle for the lead, but then he gets into Quaffle. He says he had a tire going down at that point. I don't know if I believe him or not. But he takes himself, Quaffle, and Allgaier into the wall. So 2 of the JRM cars in this wreck. And I'm just like, man, what a wrecking ball Corey Day is. And to top it all off, guess who took the lead? Austin Hill. And I'm just like, fuck. Well, I guess it was a matter of time, huh? So we get a restart on lap 112 with Hill as the leader. Choo-choo train forms on the outside. And I'm just like, here we go. Jeremy Clement spins down the backstretch, no caution, but we do get our next caution on lap 126. When it looked like Cody Ware either had a suspension failure in the rear or something. And the caution was actually for debris after spring rubbers from Ware's car were dropped on the front stretch. So that's pretty crazy. So we have a restart on lap 131 with Hill as the leader. Love gets by Creed for second, and RCR is now 1 and 2. So I'm just like, this is how it's going to end, huh? But then Love nearly dumps his teammate. Actually, he tried to make a move to the inside, then tried to get back in line and nearly turns Hill down the backstretch. And this allows Creed to get to the lead for a 7th pure lead change on lap 138. And then Ross Chastain, who's in the 32 car this week, gets by him to take the lead on lap 139. Carruth nearly loses it after turn 2 after getting squeezed by Sammy Smith. Then we have our 4th caution on lap 142. Smith has a flat tire in turn 1 and spins from the contact with Rajah Carruth and takes a lot of cars with him in this wreck. Then we have a restart on lap 149 with Chastain as the leader. And then we have Austin Green with a flat right front tire as Hill leads the lap after the restart, but then Chastain gets it back on lap 150. Then we have our 5th and final caution on lap 151 when Carruth has a flat tire. Josh Williams checks up and gets tagged by Sam Mayer and turns into the wall and hits the outside wall and then hits the inside wall. So it's pretty hard couple of impacts for Josh Williams, but he was able to get out of the car okay. So we have a red flag to clean up the mess. So we have a restart on lap 158. So we have a 6-lap shootout. So Chastain is the leader. Nick Sanchez actually was able to split the RCR cars for 3rd and then up to 2nd. So that was a great move by him. We get down to it, and coming to the white flag, Austin Hill gets by Ross Chastain in turn 3 for a 10th pure lead change of the day on lap 172. And maybe it was 173 laps. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it should have been 162. I don't know why I said 172. But yeah, at this point, I'm just like, is Hill seriously about to win yet another frickin' drafting race? It's like all that, and we're going to watch yet another Hill victory as the cat is curious about my new webcam. But then we come to the white flag and the craziest part of the race. So we go back down, we go press again. We go down the backstretch. Chastain lays back a little bit, gets a huge run down the back, and makes the move to the inside. Hill tries to block and gets himself hooked onto the apron. Somehow able to save it, and I think he comes home like 11th or 12th. But in the meantime, This opens the door for Sheldon Creed to finally score his first O'Reilly Series victory after 15 runner-up finishes. And he scores the 11th and final pure lead change of the day at the finish of this race. Now it's time, it's criticism time, and once again it's aimed at Austin Hill, as you well know, but it's not because of the block. Okay? What pissed me off with Austin Hill was his post-race interview where he was basically like, you know, Ross Chastain just doing Ross Chastain things. Basically, yeah, it was 12th. Okay, that's what I thought. So Hill, he was basically like, it was just Chastain doing Chastain things, you know, and all that stupid shit. And it's just like, this is why Austin Hill gets the flack that he does. Why he is probably the most hated driver in the O'Reilly series right now. Because, and there have been people like, well, you just hate him because he wins a lot of super speedway races. No, we don't hate him because he wins super speedway races all the time. We hate him because he's a fucking douchebag. And there have been multiple examples of this, okay? The fight that he got into on pit road, I forget who it was, at Martinsville. The whole situation with Sheldon Creed at Martinsville a couple years ago when they were in the championship battle, and how poorly Andy Petrie, Hill, and Richard Childress handled that. I mean, I went on a full-blown rant against them motherfuckers, and it became my most watched episode of The Fuel ever, if you remember. Him right rear hooking Eric Almirola at Indianapolis last year. Y'all remember that one? And then this shit where he basically is blaming Ross Chastain for what happened at the finish. And it's like, the entitlement that this motherfucker has is insane. Because here's a newsflash, Austin Hill. He had a run on you and made the first move, and you tried to block him. That's fair game at that point. You tried to block him and you hooked yourself. So to blame him for hooking you onto the apron is asinine. Here's the thing. I don't blame Hill for trying to make that block. I don't. It's the last lap of the race. You have to go for the win at that point, both on offense and on defense. So I don't blame Ross Chastain for trying to make that move to the inside, and I don't blame Austin Hill for trying to make that block. You're going for the win at that point. It's the last lap of the race. And here's the thing. If Austin Hill, in his post-race interview, would have been like, you know, I tried to make the block, and Hill wrecked Cole Custer at Charlotte a few years ago. He's done this several times. Yeah, exactly. There are multiple examples of him being an asshole. But as I was going to say, if Hill, in his post-race interview, would have been like, yeah, I tried to block him, I got hooked, that's on me, we'll learn from it and come back next week. If he would have been like that, we would be having an entirely different conversation. And none of this would have been an issue. I would have been like, okay, let's let bygones be bygones. If he would have been like that, if he would have admitted, yeah, I tried to block, that's on me, nothing would have been made of it. I would have been like, okay. But that's not what happened. He basically tried to put the blame on Ross Chastain, and Ross, he was blaming himself for it, and I'm just like, dude, you have nothing to blame yourself for. You made the first move, and he made a reactive move. And again, if Hill would have been proactive with his block as opposed to reactive, again, different conversation. But that's not what happened. Because we looked at the replay multiple times. Chastain made the first move, and he was there. Hill tried to block him and hooked himself. And all Hill had to do was, yep, I tried to block because I was just trying to protect the win. And that would have been fair. But instead, he tried to put the blame on Ross Chastain. and he wonders why he gets the shit that he gets. You know, my stepfather asked me, you know, yesterday during the Cup race, I wonder why Austin Hill doesn't have a Cup ride. And I'm like, probably because a lot of the Cup teams don't want the baggage associated with him. Not to mention the fact that he's nothing but a fucking super speedway merchant. Like, yeah, he might have the most super speedway wins in O'Reilly Series history, but a more difficult question would be, when's the last time he won on a non-super speedway race? Vegas 3 years ago? I mean, yeah, he has 15 career O'Reilly Series wins, but 11 of them have been on super speedways. That might be another reason why he's not in Cup, and not to mention the fact that he's an immature little fucking idiot. And I don't think Cup teams want the baggage. That's just my opinion. But congratulations to Sheldon Creed. It's been a long time coming for him. 15 runner-up finishes. 15 runner-up finishes. And he finally gets his first career O'Reilly Series victory. So, race stats, we had 24 overall lead changes with 11 pure lead changes, 5 caution flags. No overtimes though, so we had a green flag finish. 2,880 green flag passes with an average of 24.6 per green flag lap on average. So yeah, this was a pretty good race. Race results. Oops, let's check that off. So Sheldon Creed with the win. He led 17 laps on the day. Oh, and by the way, with the 41 of Sam Mayer, he actually congratulated his teammate on the track, then tried to get to pit road, went to the grass, and completely destroyed his front splitter. So that was an oopsie. Not every single driver finds victory, but good things come to those who wait, and Creed finally gets it done yesterday. Great for him. Well, Saturday, technically. But yeah, it was a long time coming for sure. How about Parker Retzlaff? Look at this fucking top 5. Yeah, Parker Retzlaff in the 99 car finishing second. You have Nick Sanchez in the 25 car finishing third. And then you have the fucking wrecking ball, Corey Day, somehow coming back to finish 4th. And Jesse Love rounding out the top 5. Chastain comes home 6th, then Sam Mayer in 7th, Rajah Caruth in 8th. 5th through 8th led a lot of laps. Love had 31 laps, Chastain and Caruth had 22 laps, Mayer had 23 laps. Taylor Gray in 9th had 2 laps, and then Brandon Jones with a quiet top 10 run. And Austin Hill did finish 12th after leading 34 laps, which looks like the most laps of the day. So go fucking figure. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cars that did not finish this race due to crashes or various other issues. Here are the point standings after 2 races. Austin Hill still leads with Rajah Caruth in 2nd. Sheldon Creed with his win jumps all the way up to 3rd. But like I said, we're only in race 2. I would take these point standings with a grain of salt right now until we get about 4 or 5 races in, and we'll see where it is from there. As for my final rating for the Bennett Transportation and Logistics 250, like I said, this was the best race of the weekend. Even though it had more cautions, it definitely felt a lot more racy than the Truck Series did. Not as much single file bullshit, which I appreciate. It definitely felt a lot more racy. And we had a feel-good winner at the end with a lot of lead changes. And at the end of the day, that's all you could ask for. So my final rating for the Bennett 250, I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. So, God tier race. And I think it was the best race of the weekend. So, there you go. But anyways, that's going to do it for this review of the Fuel O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Echo Park Speedway. Next review, and our last review of the night, will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it is the Cup Series review. And that's where we're going to go through some of the news stories that have been going down. That's usually how I do it. Kind of the pre-show for the review is, going through some of the various news stories and shit. And there were a couple that kind of dropped this past week. So we'll talk about that when the time comes. So do that in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching this edition of The Fuel, and until next time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, this is the PackerMan signing out. See you a little bit later for the Cup review. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.